Welcome everyone. Today we will start with NumPy library, which is considered to be a fundamental package for all scientific computing. It is the most important part of Python, computer graphics. It is the base for SciPy, Pandas, Matplotlib, as well as others. Well, NumPy is multidimensional array library to store all sorts of data, whether it is 1D, 1D can be array or vector, or it can be 2D. 2D can be matrix, rather it is 3D. 3D can be which has 3 axes, cube. There can be ND also. I can't represent ND. Where multidimensional array is discussed, NumPy is first choice to build it. NumPy makes it more convenient to use. Let's see on Jupyter. From now onwards, I'll be using Jupyter as my ID. And here I have used this Python 3, as you can see my right side of screen. Well, when we represent array in NumPy, we need to write first import because we need to import NumPy first here. So here I have to write import NumPy as NP. Then I'll give a variable to which I'll assign the array. So here I'll write np.array, then up braces, then bracket, and then I'll give my array 1, 2, 3, 4. So when I print this, and for running, we can use this option or this run button. So when I run this, I'll get the array numpy1. So this is our 1D. When I have to represent 2D, I need to write b is equal to np.array, and here I'll be giving 1, 2, 3, 4, and then small braces, and here I'll assign the other one 5, 6, 7, 8. So when I print b and I need to run this, I'll get 2D array. So as you can see the difference, in NumPy we need to install libraries. So for this, I need to write import NumPy as NP first, whereas in list is inbuilt. So it is always ready to work with. Now we will see why NumPy is preferred over list. Well, NumPy is faster as compared to list. It is a memory efficient. Here, mathematical operations can be performed very easily. Let's see this also by example. So I'll go to Jupyter first. So we have seen how to create an array in NumPy. Here we need to write np.array and then we need to give a list over here, which itself convert this into an array, which we say NumPy array. Now for creating range in NumPy, we need to write np.arange. Here if I want 1000, so till 999 I'll get this range. So here if I print, here I'll assign this value to b, and when I print b, I'll get from 0 to 999. Now we will see how NumPy array is more efficient in memory than list. I need to have a L is equal to, then I'll define a range which will have 1000, print sys dot get size of this L, and here into len of L. On the other hand, I'll define for NumPy array also. A is equal to np dot arange, and here I'll define for 1000, and here I'll write print a dot size into a dot item size. So when I print this, let's write over here list so as to identify over here, and similarly I'll write for NumPy array also. So when I run this, I can see that list is taking so much memory than NumPy array. When list is taking 48,000 of memory, here NumPy is taking just 4,000. So through this, we can identify that how it is memory efficient. Now we will see how it is performing mathematical operations easily. So for this also we'll go to Jupyter. Now here I'll define A is equal to np.array 1, 2, 3, 4. Similarly for B. Now if I want to print A into B, it can perform very easily. Now instead of B, if I want to give 3 and I want it should be divided by. So here also it will perform the operations very easily as compared to list. Let's see this operation in list also. So I'll copy the same one and instead of NumPy array, I'll just give normal list. So when I print this, I got an error because in list, this operation cannot be performed, whereas in array, it performs very easily. So these kind of operations are performed in NumPy. Now we will see in what aspect NumPy is faster than list. As array fixed type, so it is faster to read less bytes of memory, whereas there is no type checking when iterating through objects in NumPy. NumPy supports contiguous memory. Suppose this is the memory and we have 8 memory blocks to store in a list. So here it gets scattered when it comes to list. Though list contain pointers which points to the scattered memory and can access the scattered one. So it makes slower as it need to search for that particular information. As it is searching for third one, then this second one will go to fourth one and third one will go to this. Similarly, it will go and search for its particular information. Whereas in NumPy, it uses efficiently one after the other, which makes it faster. So these are the reason which makes NumPy faster than list. So now let's see how to create an array and how several operations works on NumPy array. For this, first we will see how to create a 1D array. For 1D array, a underscore 1, I'll write is equal to np.array 1, 2, 3 and 4. So when I write print a underscore 1, I'll get single dimensional array. It is called 1D because it has just row. Whereas if we come to 2D, 2D is somewhat which has row plus column. Now here if I want to see the dimension, I need to write here dot ndim. So when I run this, I'll get one dimension because this is just a row. That's why it has just one dimension. Now if I need to see its shape, so here I'll write dot shape. So when I run this, I'll get 4 a single row as it contains a single row and 4 columns to it. Now here if I want to check len of A and will print it, I'll get the 4. Now let's see for 2 dimension also. So I'll just copy this and will paste over here, and here I'll just give one more dimension to it and I'll name it as A2 because it is for 2 dimension. Now when I run this, I got 2 dimension array as 1, 2, 3, 4 is in one array and 5, 6, 7, 8 is second. Now when we see dimension of it, as it is a 2D array, that's why it is 2. So when we come to shape, let's draw it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. When we number this, 0, 1, 0, 1, 2, 3. That means here we have 2 rows and 4 columns. That means this is 2 cross 4. Make sure shape should always return in tuple. It always returns in tuple, so it is always in small braces. Then comes length. Length is 2, because here it always take the first parameter of a shape, because this is length into breadth. So when it takes the length of this shape. Now we will see for 3D array. I'll take it a underscore 3 for 3 dimension, and here np dot array. Now please be careful. Here first we will take for 2 cross 2 for 3D. That means here first we need to take first, then it is asking for 2. So here I'll take one array, that means one list, and inside this one list. That means we have covered these two. Now here it is asking for 2 inside this 2. So here we will create 2 lists in this list, and here also 2 lists inside this. Now it is asking 2 elements within the list. So here I'll give 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's implement this. Here 3 brackets, then 1, 2, coming out of this bracket, here 3, 4, coming out of 2 bracket, then 2 brackets, 5, 6, then bracket 7, 8. Now I will implement the same function as I did for 2D. Instead of A2, I'll write A3. So when we check this, here we have this 3D array. If we comes to dimension, it is 3. When we comes to shape, this is 2 cross 2 cross 2. That means we have first a list, inside this 2 lists, then 2, and here it will be 2 elements. That's why it is 2 cross 2 cross 2. And when it comes to length, length will be, this is length, breadth and height. So first parameter of our shape will be treated as length. Now let's understand this for other example. Now let's see for 3 cross 4 cross 2. Here I'll use the whole screen. So first of all, our big list over here. Inside this, it is asking for 3. So here I'll take 1, then 2, and here 3. So we have covered this 3 over here. Now it is asking for 4 inside these 3 lists. So here I'll take 1, 2, I'm making little bit smaller, 4. Likewise, here as well, 4 list over here inside these 3. 1, 2, 3, and this is 4. Now it is asking for 2 elements inside these 4. So here I'll write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Similarly, here we will write for every element 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. So this is all about introduction of NumPy functions. Now we will start with np.arange. Here we have a function arange which works totally like range, but the thing is start value will be 0 and the end value, as we have here 3, so this value will be exclusive, so it will work from 0 to 2. And here you don't have any step value, so it will be taken as 1. So first of all, it has start value, then end value, out of which the value you have been given will be exclusive, and the third one will be step. So here we have been given np.arange. So it will work with 0, 1 and 2. And here everything starts with 0. Here we have 1, 10, 2. So starting value is 1. So here it will start with 1 and end at 9. 2, 3 up to 9. But the step value is 2. So it won't work. It will start with 1, 3, 5, 7 and 9. And 10 is exclusive value, so it won't be taken. So let's implement this on Jupyter also. So first of all, I'll start with import numpy as np. As first we need to import numpy. Then we have to give a function which is np.arange. We are giving the value 3. And here I'll allot this to ARR. Then I'll write here ARR. When I run, there will be a list within this function, and here I'll get from 0 to 2, and this third value will be exclusive as this is the end value. Now we will see with start and end value also. As this is an int value, now we will see with float value as well. So I'll just copy from here, and here if I'll write 3.0, it will return in float value as I have given the float value. Now if I write here ARR1 is equal to np dot arange, and here I'll give 3, 7, and here I'll write ARR1. So here it will return the first value which is 3, then 4, 5, 6, as we haven't given any step value, so it will follow plus 1. So it will start from 3 and end value will be 7, but it won't be exclusive, and the step size will be plus 1. Now let's see for 2 value. So here I'll write 2. Now we have the step size also, and it is completely optional. So here when I run this, I'll get just 3 and 5. Now coming to linspace, here instead of step size, we have the number of points. Here whatever we are giving in step size will be considered as number of points. Let's see how to implement this in Jupyter. So here I'll write AR2 is equal to np.linspace, and value I'll give from 2 to 3, and number of points will be 5. So when I'll ask ARR2 how it will work, here it will take from 2 to 3, and here there will be 3 points within, because it will consider these 2 points as well. So when it runs, it will be taken as 2.25, 2.50, 2.75, and 2.75 after this it will come 3. So there are 5 points inclusive of 2 and 3. So if I run this, I'll get the same points over here. Now let us make it more interesting. So here if I'll write endpoint equal to false, I'm asking that this endpoint should not be there. But they have the condition that they have to maintain 5 points. So what they will do? Let's see. What they did? They removed this 3, but from 2 to 2.8, they have taken the sample size as 0.2. But they are 5 in numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now here, if I want to know the step size of these numbers, so what I'll do? Here I'll mention red step, and instead of false, I'll write here true. So when I do this and will run this, I'll get the red step size between here. Here 2, 2.25, 2.5, 2.75 and 3. What is the sample size here? It's 0.25. That's why whenever we are giving this red step, it returns the step size in the output itself. Now let's see the data type related to this array. Here also it follows all the data types. Like here we have complex data type. if I want to have this data type, or if I want to change this data type, what I'll do, I'll go here. Let me zoom it. If I mention here d type is equal to float, as this was already in int. Now, as I want this output should be in float. So what I'll do, I'll just run this, and here I got this output in float. So for this, I need to give this dtype keyword here. So what all dtype we use here? The complex. Here we have boolean as well as string data type. Now let's see what are np.ones. Here we'll be giving this tuple inside this function. This is function and this will be tuple. So here it is asking for 3, 3. 3, 3 means 3 cross 3. This will be row and this will be column. Here we asked for ones. So all ones will be there in our matrix in the form of 3 cross 3. Let's see in our Jupyter also. So here I'll write ARR2 is equal to np.ones, and here I'll give 5, and I'll ask Jupyter to print ARR2. I got all the ones, as here 5 cross 5. Here we'll be having 5 rows and 5 columns. Similarly, now let us make it more interesting. Here I'll define it in tuple inside the function, and here I'll define 2, 1. So what it will do? Here it will return, as this is the row and this is the column. So here we have 1 row, that means 1, and 2 column. So it will print as 1, 1. Here you must have observed by default it will take in float. I haven't defined any d type over here. So by default it is taking in float. Now I want this output should be in int. So what I'll do? I'll copy this here, and here I'll mention it d type is equal to int. When I run this, I'll get the output in int value. Now the second one is np.zeros. Zeros is 3 cross 3. Similarly as our ones. Here also the default value will be in float, and we have 3 cross 3 but zeros. Here np.ones were all ones. In zeros we have all zeros. Let's implement this also in Jupyter. Here I'll write ARR3 is equal to np.zeros 5. And then I need to print ARR3. I got all the zeros and in float form, because by default it always accepts float. Now I want this in int. So what I'll do? I'll just copy this here, and here I'll write d type is equal to int. So when I run this, all returned value will be in integers. Now here if I'll write ARR4 is equal to np.zeros inside tuple, I'll write 2, 1, and I'll ask Jupyter to print it. So when I run this, here it will print. Now let's see the other one, np.I. Here I stands for identity matrix. As we have read in our 10th standard also, identity matrix is somewhat where diagonals are the ones and rest will be 0. Similarly, here we asked for 3 values, that means 3 cross 3, where it will follow identity matrix. Now let's implement this in Jupyter also. Here when I write ARR5 is equal to np.I, and here I'll give 5 this time. And when I print this ARR5, here I got all the 5 cross 5, where this is 5 cross 5, and here it is following identity matrix. That means all diagonals will be 1. But by default, it will be treated as float value. Now here if I'll ask this D type is equal to int, and when I run this, I got all the diagonal values as an int. Now let's make it more interesting. I'll delete this, and here I'll write arr6 equal to np.I, and here I'll give 3, and here I'll give k is equal to 1. That means by default it is taking k is equal to. And here when I print this arr6, what it will do? Here we have the feature where we can shift this k. Let's start from the basic, like np.I3. Here it is asking for making 3 cross 3 matrix where we have diagonal values as in 1 and the rest value will be 0. But here I want this diagonal value should shift by 1. That means here this is 0, 1, 2. K is equal to 1. So diagonal value should come from 1 from here. Now what if I'll give identity matrix as 5 and here I want k is equal to 3, and when I run this, what it will do? Here indexing always start from 0. So here 0, 1, 2, 3. So k started from 3. But what if I'll make in minus? If I write here minus 3 and run this, here it will start from downwards. That means when k is equal to positive value, it refers to upper diagonal. If it is negative, it will refer to downward diagonal. If I have given k is equal to 3, it will follow indexing, and indexing always starts with 0. So here 0, 1, 2, 3. If it is plus 3, it will start from here the diagonals, and if it is minus 3, this is 0, minus 1, minus 2 and minus 3. So it has started from here. Here when we have np.I32, the first will be rows and the second will be column. It is same as np.zeros, np.ones, everywhere it follows the same. So here we have 3 rows, 0, 1, 2 and 2 columns. Now when we come to diagonal, it follows same as identity matrix, but in the diagonal when we give this value, it will follow in diagonal 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's implement this on Jupyter. So when I write arr7 is equal to np dot array, and here I'll define 1, 2, 3, 4, and here when I print this arr7, we got all the values in the diagonal. Now let's see np.random.rand. Here we have two kind of values. First is uniform distributed and the second one is Gaussian. In the upcoming videos, I'll discuss with Gaussian also. So let us discuss this on Jupyter. Here when I write arr8 is equal to np.random.rand, and how many random values I want? Likewise 5. So when I print this arr8, here we will get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 random values. Indexing and slicing. So first let us know how to access values. Accessing values is just as Python. Here also indices starts with 0. So here when we write arr1 np.arange50, and when I print this, print arr1, it will give values from 0 to 49, as last value is always exclusive. This we have discussed in the last video. Now in this video we will see how to access values. Like if I want to write here arr1 24, it will return the value 24. Now what if I want to write here ARR1 24 equal to 45, and when I print ARR1, it will return all the values from 0 to 49, but in the index 24, it will write here 45. So this is assigning of values. Now let's see for diagonals also. Here in ARR2, we have np.diagonal. np.diagonal in the sense, we have 3 cross 3 matrix where diagonal has been defined. So these value will be 1, 2, 3 and rest will be 0. So when I'll ask Jupyter to print this, it will give the matrix where we have diagonal values as 1, 2, 3. Now here if I want to assign the values like 2, 1 as 5, here we have 0, 1, 2, this one 0, 1, 2, and for 2, 1, that means 2 row and 1 matrix. I'm asking interpreter second row 1 column, that means this 0 to be 5. So I have assigned this value as 5. Now let's see how it is printing over here. It has printed this value as 5. Now let's move forward. Now let's see slicing. Now here in slicing, we asked here 8 from 0 to 9. As the last value is always exclusive. So here it will start from 0 and end at 9. Now slicing always works on indexing. Here we have the first index. The first value will be start index. Second value will be end index, but it also follows exclusive because here the last value will be exclusive and this is always a step size. Now when we see here, we have ARR3 np.arange from 0 to 9 and it is asking ARR3 272. Now let's see. Here we have 272. That means it starting from this index and will end at this index, and here it will work with plus 2 step size. That means 2, 4 and 6. As 7 is the last value, so it won't be included. So let's check it. So when I print this, we got 2, 4, 6. Now if we have just the starting index, so what it will do? It will just start from here from 2 and will end at 9. Because as end index has not been given, so it will be considered as last value. Step size, if it is not given, plus 1 will be taken as step size. So when I print this, I'll get 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now we have NumPy array, which has been allotted to letter variable. Now it is asking letters 2 to 5. For this, we should have indexing from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Now it is saying 2 to 5. That means from 2 to 4, all values it will take because fifth value will be exclusive. So here it will return 5, 7, 9. Let's calculate all the positive index first. Now we have 5 to end value. End value has not been specified. That means it will be taken as last value. So here it will take from 7, 5. So it will return 7 and 5. Now we have just colon. Colon means start, end and step. Start, end, that means from first value it should take to the last, and step by default should be plus 1. That means it will return the input as it is in the output. So here we have 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 7, 5. Now we will see negative index. We have start to minus 5. Start will be taken from 0 index but minus 5. As positive value is always in the left to right direction. So negative will be taken in the reverse direction. That means it will start from -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6, -7. So it is saying from 0 to -5. That means 0 value to -5. So here -5 will be exclusive. So it will take just 1 and 3. Then comes start to end complete values but should be in the -1. -1 means in the reverse direction. So here it will write 5, 7, 9, 7, 5, 3, 1. All the values but in the reverse order. So let's cross verify our answers. So here I'll go. Here we have first is 579, second is 13, third is 75, then 135, and the last one will be in the reverse order. Now let's make it more interesting. As we have in ARR 5, 1, 2, 3, which has the index 0, 1, 2. It is saying that in array 5, 0 and 1, as the last value is never exclusive. So here instead of 0, 1, include this 4 and 5. This is assignment. So here it is saying to include this 4 and 5 instead of 1, 2. So here it will write 4, 5 and will copy 3 as it is. So now what is our ARR 5? 4, 5, 3. So when we run this, we got the same. Now here in ARR 6, we have np.arange 4. That means 0, 1, 2, 3. And here the reverse order -1 is reverse order. That means it should be converted to 3, 2, 1, 0 and should be given to ARR 5. ARR 5 from 3 onwards. Here we have 0, 1, 2. From 3 onward, include this value in this. So what will be our result value? 4, 5, 3, 3, 2, 1, 0. So when we check this, here we have 4, 5, 3 as it is and 3, 2, 1, 0 of array 5 will be included in this array. Copies and views. As this concept is very sensitive, I want you guys to understand this very clearly. So I want to explain this concept with the help of small example. Suppose a family has 2 children and they demanded for cycle. But parents asked them to have just one cycle only as they have some limited resources. So they decided to share one cycle with them. So they used the same bicycle for their usage. If cycle got punctured by one person, then the other person also gets affected. Similarly, we have an array A which have 0 to 9. Likewise, B also have part of A, it creates its subarray where it has 0 to 4, 6, 8. Now, when they ask np.shares memory between A and B, it is said true. So here also we have an array which has A and B also creates a subarray of B. As parents were short of money, here to be efficient of space, A and B points to the same location. B is pointing to the subarray but at same location. So for memory optimization, A and B points to the same using view. This is also called shallow copy. Here we have A and B. If I make any changes in B, A will automatically get affected. As like cycle, if one person got cycle punctured, the other person work will also get affected by that. So if I assign value for B3 is equal to 5 and here when I print A, what value I'll get? then A value will also get affected by making one change in B. So this is shallow copy. Slicing always follows shallow copy. But here, if I want this to follow deep copy, what here I'll write? So for this, I'll take A as it is. And here I'll create a variable C is equal to A 3. And here I'll force a deep copy over here. And then I'll ask whether A and B shares the memory. It says false because deep copy never shares the memory. If here I'll make any changes in C, let's see. When I write C0 is equal to 10 and here when I print A, it will give A as it is. There will be no changes in C. Whereas in shallow copy or view, there will be a change in A if we make any changes to B because it is pointing to the same memory location. Operations of NumPy. Here we have an array of NumPy 1, 2, 3, 4 and we asked to add a scalar quantity. This is a scalar quantity. We will add element wise. That means the output array will be 1 plus 1 is 2, 2 plus 1 is 3, 3 plus 1 4 and 4 plus 1 is 5. Here there will be an element wise operation of addition. Now second operation is exponent where this is a 2 to the power of A and in A we have 1, 2, 3, 4. That means the output will be 2 to the power 1, 2 to the power 2, 2 to the power 3 and 2 to the power 4. That means first is 2, second one is 4, third one is 2 to the power 3 is 8, 2 to the power 4 is 16 and our D type is in int. Now we will see arithmetic operation which operates element wise. Now we have np.1's 4. So here B is equal to 4 cross 4. That means 1, 1, 1, 1. And here it is saying plus 1. That means 2, 2, 2. Here it is saying A minus B. A is 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'll write over here 1, 2, 3, 4. Now if we say A minus B, 1 minus 2 is minus 1, 2 minus 2 is 0, 3 minus 2 is 1, 4 minus 2 is 2. Now the second operation is A cross B. A cross B is element wise. Here 1 into 2 is 2, 2 into 2 is 4, 3 into 2 is 6, 4 into 2 is 8. Now we will see more operations. Here we have J is equal to np dot range from 0 to 4 and it is saying 2 to the power of j plus 1. That means 2 to the power of this will become 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as j plus 1 is asked. Now 2 to the power of 1 will be 2, 2 to the power 2 is 4, 2 to the power 3 is 8, 2 to the power 4 is 16, 2 to the power 5 is 32. Now it is saying minus of j. That means minus j. 2 minus 0 is 2, 4 minus 1 is 3, 8 minus 2 is 6, 16 minus 3 is 13, 32 minus 4 is 20. So this is how operation works in NumPy. Now we have a matrix which is np dot ones. That means we have ones of 3. And it is asking for C cross C. So I'll make one more C which is of np dot ones 3 cross 3. Now here there is a major confusion between C cross C and C dot C. In matrix we use C dot C, whereas if we are asked C cross C, it will be not a matrix multiplication but a array multiplication which works on element wise. That means this one will be taken as 1 into 1 is 1, 1 into 1 is 1, 1 into 1 is 1. Similarly, for every 1, it will take it as it is. So, the returned output will be 1 NP dot ones of 3. Now, we will see for C dot C. For this, I'll rub this. Now, we will see C dot C. C dot C is for matrix multiplication. Here we have all the ones for C as it is defined here, NP dot ones. Similarly for other C. Now we will see how matrix multiplies here. This is 0, 1, 2, the row, 0, 1, 2 for column. This is for row. So I'll make a matrix. Here, make sure this row, 0 row will be multiplied by 0 column. That means 1 into 1 is 1. Then this 1 into this 1 plus 1. Then this 1 into this 1. So plus 1. Similarly, this 0 will be multiplied with 1 column. So here also 1 into 1 plus 1 into plus 1. Then 0 row will be multiplied by 2 column. Here 1 plus 1 plus 1. Likewise, first row will be multiplied by 0 column, 1 column, 2 column. So here also we will write the same as all are ones only. So we will have the same result. Similarly, second row will be multiplied by first 0 column where we have 1 plus 1. Then second row with first column and then second row with second column. So here we got result 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. So this is how matrix multiplies, and here we will get the same solution as here, and this is always represented as C dot C. This is the representation in NumPy. Now we will see comparisons in NumPy. First of all, it always returns in Boolean. As in A, we have an array 1, 2, 3, 4. In B, we have 4, 2, 2, 4. Now it is asking whether A is equal to B or not. So it will check element wise. First, it will check 1 is equal to 4. No. So it will return false. 2 is equal to 2. Yes, true. 3 is equal to 2. No, false. And 4 is equal to 4. So it will return true. Now, if we can check A is greater than B, 1 is greater than 4, no, so it will return false. 2 is greater than 2, false. 3 is greater than 2, yes, so it will return true. 4 is greater than 4, no, false. Similarly, it can work for A smaller than B also, so it works in comparison also. Now we will see array-wise comparison. In element-wise comparison, it was returning the Boolean expression for every element. It was working for element-wise. Whereas in array-wise comparison, it will check the full array and will return the answer. Like np.array equal A, B. Now we will see A and B. 1, 2, 3, 4 and B is 4, 2, 2, 4. That means they both are not equal. So it will return false. Now here it is asking check for AC. A is 1, 2, 3, 4. C is 1, 2, 3, 4. That means it will return true and it is working for array wise. Now we will see logical operations. Logical operations works element wise. And here we have been given an array A and a B array. And it is asking for OR operation. OR operation, if you remember, for 0, 0, it always works for plus. So 0 plus 0 is 0. So it will return false. For 0 plus 1 is true. So T. 1 plus 0 is T. 1 plus 1 will be T. So here 1 plus 1 is T. 1 plus 0 will be T, 0 plus 1 will be T, 0 plus 0 is false because 0 plus 0 is false. Similarly, it will work for AND also. In AND, it always works for cross. So here 0 into 0 is false, 0 1 false, 1 0 false, and 1 1 only it will return true. So here also it will work for just for 1 1 true and rest will be false. Here it also works for sine, log, exponential. In sine it will be array like you have 0 to 4. Sine 0 is 0, then sine 1, sine 2, sine 3, sine 4, it will return its value. Work for log also and exponential as well. In this, it works for e to the power the value. So NumPy accepts all sine, log, exponential, cos, everything. Now what if we have A's np.a range 0, 1, 2, 3 as last value is always exclusive. So this array is 0, 1, 2, 3 and it is asking for a plus NumPy 1, 2. That means the other one is 1, 2. This is for 4 size and the second one will be 2 size. So will it accept for addition? So as it is a shape mismatch, it won't do addition and it will give the error value error as operands could not be broadcasted with shape 4, 2. It should be of same shape if we have to do any operation. So here it ends with operations of NumPy. There are more operations which we have to discuss. The next will coming with true and trill, which is the most sensitive topic of NumPy and I got confused many times for this function. So I want to explain it elaborately. Trill and true. Here tree stands for triangle, whereas L stands for lower. That means lower triangle of an array. Whereas tree stands for triangle and U stands for upper. Here it means upper triangle of an array. Here you can see 4 cross 5 matrix where 4 are row and the 5 are columns. Here K refers to the diagonal above which two 0 elements. If K is equal to 0, if we have trial, then lower elements should be kept preserved, whereas all the elements should be 0. Here we have trill K 0. So this is K is equal to 0. The all elements in the lower triangle should be as it is, whereas the values above this K is equal to 0, that means yellow, purple, green will be all zeros. For example, if we have trill K is equal to 1, then all the values below the K is equal to 1 will be as it is. Here trill, if L is there, lower values will be preserved. If U will be there, upper value will be reserved. So here we need not to touch, whereas upper to K is equal to 1, we will make all the values 0. Now let's understand this with example. So as I told you, for trill, lower values should be preserved and upper values should be made 0. Whereas it depends from where we should do. That depends on K. So here, for example, we have np.ones 4. Here we have 4 cross 4, 1, 1, 1, 1, 4 cross 4 matrix. Now it is saying K is equal to 0 as no value has been given here. So we will take it as the upper AND will be K is equal to 0 over here. So when we said trill K is equal to 0, that means the lower value will be preserved as it is, whereas the upper part will be made 0. So we will make all the values 0 above the k is equal to 0. Let's check. We got all the values upper to k is equal to 0, 0. Now we will see the other example of trill. Here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And k is equal to minus 1 value has been given. So as you know, the upper left hand will be 0. That means this is 0. So here this will be minus 1. As it is saying trill, that means all the lower end will be as it is and the upper end will be made 0. Let's check it out. Here you can see instead of 1, 2, 3, 5, 6 and 9, all values have been made 0. Hope you got the idea how trill works. Now we will see how true works. It works same as trill. Let's check it out the true also. Now we will see the other question. Here it is saying np dot ones. Np dot ones, that is 3 cross 3. So we have 3 and here k is equal to 1 has been given. That means this is 0 upper left hand and here 1 will be there. So this value will be k is equal to 1. Now it is saying true. That means upper value should be preserved, whereas all the changes will be made here in the lower triangle as 0. So instead of this, we will have here all zeros. Let's check it. Here we got all these zeros over here. This should be 0. Now we will see the other example of true where it is saying np dot ones, where we will have all the ones here of 3 cross 3. And here k is equal to 1 has been given. So for this k is equal to 0 will be upper left and here k is equal to 1 will be this one. As it is saying true, that means all the upper value will be preserved and we will make all the lower value as 0. So when we check here, we will get all the lower value as 0. Now we will check np.true where we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And here k is equal to minus 1. That means lower end. So here k is equal to 0 will be upper left and minus 1 will be k is equal to minus 1. So I'll just draw this. As it is saying true, that means upper value will be preserved and these values will be made 0. Let's check it. Same. All the lower values will be made 0. So this is how trill and true works. If we understand this, it is very easy, but in the starting, it seems difficult. More basic functions on reductions. So without wasting any time, let's start our topic. So first is np.sum. Here we have array of numbers. If we apply np.sum and will give a variable to this, it will sum up all the values and give you in output. This we can represent through np.sum, as well as we can also write the variable in which we have array of numbers dot sum. Through this also we can get the sum of numbers, and this is a basic reduction of the numbers we got in input. We can also calculate it by axis as well, as we have here 1, 1, 2, 2. If it is asked axis is equal to 0, axis is equal to 0 is column wise. Column wise 1 plus 2 is 3 and 1 plus 2 is 3. So here we got array of 3, 3. When it is asked access is equal to 1, then we will calculate by row. So here access is equal to 1 will be 2, 4. So in access is equal to 1, we can write 2, 4. Now if we need to calculate the min, we want minimum number in an array. So we can simply give np.array in a variable and we can ask them x.min. So here whatever minimum value will be there, it will get calculated. Similarly in max, it will give the maximum value as its output. Now argmin. Argmin is somewhat, if we have an array 5, 8, 9, 2, 6. So here minimum value is 2. But arg indicate its index. Whatever value we have been given as minimum, its index will be, as index starts from 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So arg indicates to the index of minimum number. So it will be given as 3. Now if it asks argmax, argmax is whatever maximum value we have, its index. So it will be 2, as our maximum number is 9. So index will be 2. Now we will see logical operations. Logical operation, we have all. All in array we have true, true, false, true. All indicates to the logical AND operation, whereas any indicates OR operation. So here in AND, if any one of them it will be false, the output will be false. Whereas in any one will be in true, it will give true. Now let's see its implementation. Here we have np.zeros 100 cross hundreds. That means all value will be here 0 and that too 100 cross 100. np.any a not equal to 0. If any of its number here a is not equal to 0, all values here are 0. So not equal to 0 can't be possible. That's why it will give false. Now here it is asking np.all a is equal to a. A is 0 over here. That means every a is 0. So a is equal to a. Yes. So it will return true. Now let's see one more implementation where we have a is equal to an array 1, 2, 3, 2. Similarly for b also. And here it is asking for this expression. So we will divide it. First we will calculate a smaller than equal to b. So here we will make an array. 1 is smaller than 2. True. 2 is smaller than equal to. 2 is equal to true. 3 is equal to 3. 2 is equal to 2. So here we got all the values as true. Now we will see b is smaller than equal to c. So we will write here c as well. 6, 4, 4, 5. Now 2 is smaller than 6. True. 2 is smaller than 4. True. 3 is smaller than 4. True. 2 is smaller than 5. True. So we got true. Now when true and true, true. So all true will be there. Now it is asking for dot all. So here we will calculate for dot all. So here for true, we will get true only, as all calculates for AND. So here we have seen with the help of NumPy, we can calculate in single line. Otherwise, we have to write a long code using if condition and then for loop. There will be a 3 to 4 line of code in Python. So NumPy makes programming so easy. We will see real world example how NumPy is used with real application. So first of all, we have a population.txt where we have years and a population of rabbits and a population of cat and then number of carrots. Here rabbit eat carrot and cat eat rabbit. So this is scenario over here. We have 30 to the power e3. We have the data in mostly e to the power of 3, which is a scientific notation. So for your information, I just want to tell you 30 e to the power 3 is 30 into 10 to the power 3, which is 3 zeros, 30,000. So these data is somewhat this kind of. Now, first of all, we will know how to load your data. So you need to write just np.load.txt and a path over here where our population.txt is actually placed at. Then you need to print it. So you will get all the data which is present over there. As you can see here. The first one is ear, the second one is rabbit, then cat, then carrot. Now, secondly, we have ear, rabbit, cat, carrot equal to data dot transpose. So, what actually transposes? If we have data is equal to a kind of matrix which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So, what it happens? Here, when we have column, it will change to row. That means this 1, 2, 3 which is in column will change to this row. 1, 2, 3. Here 4, 6, 8 is column. So here it will convert to row. Then 5, 7, 9. So 5, 7, 9 will again convert to row. So similarly, it is asking for ear, rabbit, cat. All should be converted to data.transpose. As we have saved our data into data, then it is asking for data.transpose. Now here especially I am asking for rabbit. So rabbit has been given by in rows. Now if I ask for ear and we'll run this, I'll get all the data in rows. Now third question is, we want to know populations. I'll zoom it. Populations, then data. Here, first of all, it is asking for all the data and then from first. As if we see here in our data file, we have all the data here from start to end, but from first column. So here it will take 0, 1, 2, 3 and it will take from first column to last column. That's why it is giving for 30 to the power e3 as 30,000, then 47.2 e3. Similarly, here also in the simplified way. So here it will print all the populations from first column to the last column. Now we will see the next question. Here it is saying populations dot standard deviation axis is equal to 0. Now if we see here, we have all the data over here, but it should be axis is equal to 0. Axis is equal to 0 signifies the column data. So if we want all the column wise standard deviation. Now we will see what is standard deviation first. Now let's see standard deviation definition on Wikipedia. Here its formula is this. Here we can see population standard deviation. Here we have all the data 2, 4, 4, 4, 5, 5, 7, 9. First of all, we need to take out mean. What do you mean by mean? Mean is plus all the data divided by the number of data. That is sum of all data divided by number of data. And mean we used to denote it by mu. So when we calculate this all and the number of data is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we will sum up all the data and divide it by 8. It will come out to be 5. Now we have to compare each data with mean, that how much it is deviating from the mean. So here it will take 2 minus 5, that is minus 3, and we will square it up. So here we will get 9. Similarly, we will do for 4. 4 minus 5 minus 1 square is 1. And similarly, they will taking for all 4s. Then 5. 5 minus 5 will be 0. Then 7 minus 5, 2. 2 square is 4. 9 minus 5 is 4. 4 square is 16. Then we need to calculate variance. So what is variance? We need to take out all the deviating values and sum up all the deviating values divided by number of data. So here it is 8 and we will sum up all these quantities. So it will come out to be 4 and variance is denoted by sigma square and standard deviation is always denoted by sigma. So sigma square is 4. So obviously sigma will be 2. So this is how standard deviation is calculated. Now we will go back to our question. Here it is asking for standard deviation, that too in a column wise, because x is equal to 0 is always be column. So here it will take all the data column wise. First is for rabbit, second for cat, and here it is for carrot. So it will take all the rabbits together and then we'll calculate standard deviation, as I told you how to calculate standard deviation. Likewise for cat and then for carrot. So this is how standard deviation will be calculated. By first we need to calculate mu, which is mean, then variance, which is sigma square, and then square root of sigma square, which is sigma, will be our standard deviation. Now we will see next question, which is which species has the highest population each year? This is the most real world example which is highly used over NumPy. So for this, we need to calculate it by axis is equal to 1, which is row wise. And here we need to calculate for argmax. As I have told you, argmax is always used for taking the index. So here we need to take out the index where this highest population we will get for each species. So we will check it out. So here as it is x is equal to 1, it will take row wise and then it will calculate its argmax, its index for calculating its species which has highest population each year. So this is the real world example which is normally used in NumPy. We will see how to load text file having a data set. Here I am taking a data set of summary of India COVID-19 in the form of txt, where I have date 26 April, it's 04, so I'll make a change. So here it is from 9 April to 26 April, where we have confirmed rate, recovered rate and death rate. So I'll save this. So for loading text, I'll be writing np.loadtxt. Then I'll be giving the address of my txt file. And when I run this, I'll get all the data which this Jupyter Notebook will read from this text file. Now let's play with this data set. Here we have date, confirm rate, recovered date and death rate. Now I want to transpose this. Here we have a data set in the form of date, confirm, recovered, death. Now if I have to transpose this, what it will do? It will convert from column to rows. That means we will have date, all the dates, then confirm rate, then recovered, and then death rate. And on this transpose, we want date. So what it will return? The value of date key. Whatever is there in date will be given in the answer. So let's check it out. Here we got all the dates in the transpose form, as we have written here data.t. Now I want all the COVID sum in the form of mean. Here we have data where it is representing in the form of slicing. So let's understand what it means. Here it is giving
the data and it says to give all the rows. First for rows and the second one is for columns. So it says here to give all the rows, that means this all rows should be printed, but from the columns it should give from first up to last. When here it is written 1 colon and it is blank over here, that means up to last it will be printed, but from first itself 0 will be ignored. So here when I compare, I got from 548 to last 48 values. Now let's play with this. I'll rub here. Now in rows, let's ask from first. In rows 1, that means the first row will be ignored. It will print from 10 April to the last. As in the last, we haven't given any condition. But for the columns, it says to print all the columns. That means it will print from 1004 onwards to the last. So let's print this. Here when I compare, I got from 1004 to 48. But the first row will be ignored as we have given the condition from first row to the last. Here it asks to print argmax. Argmax, I have also discussed argmax in one of my video. Here I have a series of NumPy where I have started with 1D, 2D, 3D. Here I also told how to make array, how to do indexing. From the first, you can follow this. As it is a machine learning basics, you can have a complete command on NumPy by following this. So please refer it. Here it says axis is equal to 0. 0 is for column and 1 for row. Here we want on which date the highest confirmed rate was there. So for axis is equal to 0, it says to print the highest confirmed date but column wise. So when we see the data, here we can see for axis is equal to 0, it will ask for the column wise, and here it has returned 15, 15, 15 for the confirmed 15, for the recovered 15 and for the 15 death rate. So when we see here, it is for 0. From 0 to 15, we can see on 15th index, it has the highest confirmed rate, recovered date and the death rate. That's why it has given the answer for 15 index as per this summary underscore India. Now let's see for axis is equal to 1. Axis is equal to 1 refers to row wise. Here out of 1035, it will consider confirm as 0, recovered as 1, death as 2. So here it will return the index of the highest value whichever it is there from confirmed, recovered and death. As we can see, it is taking date also. So what we'll do, we will apply this slicing over here. So here I want row for column 1 onwards. So when I run this, we will get all the from confirmed onwards the data. Let's run this, and here we got from 1035 onwards to 48, where 1035 was the highest, the confirmed rate, so it returned 0. Similarly with 909, 909 is highest as compared to recovered and death. Here also all confirmed rates are higher as compared to death and recovered. So it has returned 0 index. So argmax always returns the maximum index value. Now, if we need to take out the standard deviation column wise, as axis is 0, So it will return all the standard deviation for confirmed, recovered and death rate separately. Now let's see for sorting how we can sort here. Here we have given X is equal to an array. There are array in 2D where we have 5, 4, 6 and 2, 3, 2. It is an X. Now it wants np dot sort, which will be returned in Y column wise as X is equal to 0. Here it will compare 2 and 5. 2 is the smallest, so 2 will come first and 5 will come last. Here 3, then 4, in 6 and 2, 2 is the smallest value, so 2 will come first and then 6. So when we run here, we will get 2, 3, 2 and then 5, 4, 6. Now let's see row wise. So I'll change X is equal to 1. So for X is equal to 1, what we will get? It will compare row wise. So it will check for the smallest value first. 4, 5, 6. Here 2, 2, 3. Let's verify. Here I'll run this and here we got 4, 5, 6 and 2, 2, 3. Now here we have seen it has returned this np.sort to Y. X has original matrix while Y has the sorted matrix. Now if I write x.sort, it will have the sorted array itself in X. So when I run this, here we will get 4, 5, 6 and 2, 2, 3 in X itself. Now for the other function, here we have argsort. Argsort, wherever this R comes, that indicates that we need to make changes in index. So here we have 5, 6, 3, 7. So its index are 0, 1, 2, 3. So here whenever it says argsort, we'll sort the array first, where we will have 3, 5, 6, 7 and its respective indexes. For 3 it is 2, for 5 0, 6 1 and 7 3. Here whenever we write argsort, the indexes will be returned to J. So when I print J, we will get all the indexes, which is 2, 0, 1, 3. Now if we want values, we will print the index in the bracket and the set. Now let's see the important concept, broadcasting. Here in broadcasting, let's understand this with an example. Here we have an array from 40 to 80 and in the interval of 10. So I'll write 40, then 50, 60 and then 70. Last value will always be ignored. And then it says the tile. Tile means whatever the value will be there with the NumPy array will be replicated. So 3 refers to rows and 1 will be columns. That means to repeat this value row wise and the column wise, where it says rows should be 3 times. So we will have 3 rows and 1 column. But what if we have here 3, 2? Here we will have 3 row structure with 2 columns. The same here we will have 2 times. When I change from 1 to 2 for columns and when I run this, we will get columns 2 times and 3 rows will be there in each columns. Now let's make it original 1. We will get the same with 3 rows and 1 column. Now in the next, it is asking for to transpose it. So here we have this row 40, 50, 60, 70. This will be converted to columns. 40, 50, 60, 70 will be converted to columns and here for the columns. Now in the next, it says to make another array with array 2. So I'll make another array with the name ARR2, where I need to have np.array 10, 20, 30. So here it says to have ARR2 of 10, 20, 30, whereas in ARR1 we already have the transposed form 40, 50, 60, 70. So when it asks to have addition of ARR1 and ARR2, so here this ARR2 will be replicated in 3. So this ARR2 will be getting added to ARR1 with 40, 50, 60, 70. Here we will get 50, 60, 70, 80. Then the same will be added column 1 and then this will be added to column 2. This is the concept of broadcasting, where we have 3 columns displayed as in ARR1. Then this ARR2 will be replicated in 3 forms and will get added to ARR1. Now when we see its shape, let's have this from 0 to 40. So I'll have 0, 10, 20 and 30 in the interval of 10. And when it is asked for shape, we will have the dimension as it is a 1D. So it will just give 4 for the column. So we will have just 4 comma for 1D. And we want to add new axis or we want to convert from 1D to 2D, we can simply write np.newAxis by giving the slicing the full index, that means the all values with new axis. So for adding new axis, we can write np.newAxis. Verify this by just putting ARR3, and when I run here, the all values are as same as 0, 10, 20, 30. With this, new axis will be added so that it will be converted to 2D array. If we want to flatten this, 100, 300, 500, 200, 400, 600. This is an X and I want to flatten this. I can simply write Ravel function over here. With the help of this array will be flattened so that we will get 100, 300, 500 first row and then second row. Now the next thing it asks to transpose first. The complete row will be becoming column 300, 500 and then 200, 400, 600 and then it asks to flatten it. So we will use Ravel and with the help of Ravel function we will get all the values in a flattened form. See first 100, 200, 300, 400 and 500, 600. It will flatten as per row. Now for the next, if we want to see the shape of the array, here we have 2 cross 3. The first 2 is for row and 3 is for column. Now we want the transpose form of Z. So first we will write Z, then we will transpose it first and then it is asking for Ravel so that array can be in flattened form. So as it flattens in the row form, we will get 100 first, then 1200, 500, 1400 and then 15, 1600. We got in the form of flattened form. Now again, if I want this flattened form into the original shape, so I can directly write reshape and I need to give 2 into 3 is 6. Otherwise it will give error. And with the help of reshape, we will get the original array. Now the next thing is resize. Here first let's have an array of y from 0 to 2 and here it says to resize it up to 6 digits. As it is a 1D, so it will be 6 comma but 6 refers the 6 digits should be there in row. So what it will do? It will add 0 at the last so that the total number of digits will be 6 over here. But it only works when we are resizing on the variable itself. It never returns. Now, if I reference here z is equal to y, and then if I try to resize it, it will give value error. Here, referencing doesn't work. So this is all about NumPy. Now, after NumPy, I'll be coming up with Panda series, and also I'm coming up with new concept on machine learning basics in a very descriptive way. So please refer it. And please like my video and do subscribe my channel. Thank you.